Set the timer for 15 minutes. Since that's what I always do, stick to the 15 minutes. It's just rough guidelines to go by. Toxic forgiveness. A forgiveness that's toxic, unhealthy, wrong, 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 sickening, sickening, sickening. So what do I mean by saying that when forgiveness is such a great and necessary thing of the human psyche? I'm talking about the kind of forgiveness that knows nothing about reconciliation, does not consider anything of reconciliation, and runs on the gumption that you just forgive and forget. That's what you're supposed to do, forgive and forget. Because that's what the wonderful JC did and wants us to do, and that's what we're called to do. No, that is not how the human psyche works. No. When things go wrong, people are done wrong, people do wrong. Forgiveness is a very intentional process. It's very involved. Sometimes it's a highly involved procedure. Whether the intentions are to reconcile or not to reconcile. Okay, let's say if you were in a relationship, some kind of romantic relationship, and so your boundaries were getting trampled over, and you got caught up too deep, and you're still hanging on, and obviously it's not working. Your values don't match up. What you think is important does not match up, and they're trampling over your boundaries, even though you state them clearly and firmly, and you think you're getting through, and they agree to them and give you their apologies, but yet their actions prove otherwise over and over. It's like their words sound great. Or even flip the shoe around to the other foot. Maybe you're the person doing that. Your actions do not match your words. Your actions trample their boundaries, but your words match. So somehow they go ahead and give you forgiveness, the benefit of the doubt, living by the forgive and forget principle. No. Sickening. No. That don't work. Been here in the Bible Belt, United States, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, the 4-state area. Way too many people are cultured in with this forgive and forget thing. That don't work. The psychology of man does not work that way. It does not work, and it never has worked, and it probably never will. It maybe medical science may accomplish that someday, but it ain't that right now. Check this out. Toxic forgiveness. So now we got a little picture of what toxic forgiveness is. In a nutshell, this is toxic forgiveness. Toxic forgiveness is a deep-seated idea about forgiveness, that you're supposed to forgive and forget on everything and anybody and not require any accountability nor any mention of any reconciliation or any knowledge of that, that's toxic forgiveness. I think that creates what Jesus Christ was talking about back in the Bible days or whatever. He's talking about the religious people. The brood of vipers is what he just described them as. Makes you wonder. It's like, is that what they were? They were doing this seemingly wonderful virtue of forgive and forget kind of thing, without requiring any kind of accountability or any knowledge whatsoever of reconciliation, and them trying to hold rigidly to that false virtue. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Here's something fun to look at. You want to do something fun besides all the doom and gloom? Okay, let's stay in the doom and gloom then. Okay, check this out. Although looking at that from the outside in, somebody who wasn't cultured in that kind of mindset with those kind of religions in the Bible Belt of the United States, from outside looking in, and yet they themselves too get contaminated by that very same toxic forgiveness, but not in that fashion, but in the fashion of not reconciling themselves with themselves. Places in their life where, they forgive themselves and just keep on trucking without realizing whenever we do ourselves wrong or we fall short and we need to make it up to ourselves and to make it right with ourselves, where we drop the ball and let ourselves down. And yet, we do that very same toxic forgiveness thing. And we just think we can just forgive and forget. Just keep on trucking. Just water under the bridge. We'll just keep on trucking. Ain't nothing matters here, Ma. It's all fine. No. You dropped the ball. You did yourself wrong. You need to make it up to yourself somehow. You need to make it right with yourself. That place where you did yourself wrong, really wrong, you just swept it under the carpet, thinking you forgave yourself, thinking you're moving right along, it's several years ago or whatever. Know that you is still back there at that same age, locked in a cage, starving and lonely to death, just hoping and praying that you'll come back and save them. The you to go save you, to reconcile you with you. That's what that toxic forgiveness does to us. Because it's not even really a forgiveness. Because if we were intentional about our forgiveness towards ourselves, we would know that it's got to be acknowledged, and then it's got to be approached a certain way, depending on what it is, and then it's got to be processed and moved into a full reconciliation with ourselves. Because see, the most important relationship we have to be able to live into the highest potentials of ourselves, to be the best us we can be, we must be reconciled with ourselves consistently. We can't slough it. Self-forgiveness, self-reconciliation is not optional. It is such an important thing of the human psyche and the human heart that it's just like food and water. And yet we'll go years on end. We'll just sweep shit under the carpet and just keep on trucking, get as far away from it through time as you can. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. That's a toxic forgiveness. Need to make it up to ourselves, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Because if not, it's just like that toxic forgiveness. It's that ignorance and that acceptance of the false virtue instilled in certain religions out of ignorance. I used to think it was a malevolent type of thing for manipulation, and it could be, but I think it's more of just simple misunderstanding of the human psyche and the way we operate. I mean, we can look at it in that context. Think, yeah, you don't want to be a doormat for anybody, so where they wipe their dirty feet on you and just walk all over you. Where they tell you all the right things, but their actions don't match. But of course, they're just going to wring the shit out of that because they know that you're programmed, you're trained to think that you must forgive all and stay in the relationship. And the reality is there's a smidge of truth to that too. That's why it makes it so easily to be deceived that way. And the thing is we have got to forgive others, happenings, things like that, people, places, institutions, whatever. We got to. We don't have to be reconciled with them. Meaning we don't have to let them back into our lives if we don't want to. That's highly personal. See, that's the thing right there, that to be trained that is some one super wonderful virtue. And it is, if you can make it work, and if it includes reconciliation, and if you find some master key in life, some holy grail. And I'm sure there is. It's just right now in society, we've got too many things that keep our mind weighed down, our emotions weighed down, too much of our energy pulled this way, that way, our attention spans pulled this way, pulled that way. We're ignorant of the psychological facilities. We lack training and how to even handle our own minds and emotions. Self-forgiveness, self-reconciliation. The foundation for all other relationships. The quality of our relationships with other people, lovers, friends, family, whatever, a lot of that's hinged on how well our relationship is with ourselves. And to just be like some kind of sociopath where we got no remorse over anything we've done and stuff like that, or anything we've even done to ourselves or other people, that just goes into some kind of off-the-wall narcissistic way. Then connections ain't that way. Connections can't be made, proper connections for relationship quality. But that relationship with self. Yet we drop the ball so much with that relationship with self. And then deep down, we have that wondering, why can't we form high quality connections, high quality love with others? In all reality, it's because we don't have the high quality connection with our own lives, our own past, our own current life, our own future life, our own ancestry of the future. We don't have that high quality connection there because we're not reconciled with ourselves. The more we become reconciled with ourselves, the more we see where we did ourselves wrong, and the more we see where we dropped the ball, where we need to make it up to ourselves, and we do make it up to ourselves, that's where we start to really think to ourselves. We look in the mirror and be like, you know what? I'm not such a bad person after all. You know what? I think I'm all right. I'm pretty good. I'm not bad. And then when you get more of that attitude, it starts going into a self-love. And not the ego-driven kind of me, I'm better than everybody kind. But it's more of an actual ability to treat your own self with dignity. So, call of action for today, the CTA. Ask yourself, do I have any toxic forgiveness in my life? Honestly, do I have any toxic forgiveness in my life? And ask yourself that. Keep a pen, paper in your pocket, a little notepad close by in your pocket all day, every day. Keep asking yourself this for several days in a row. See what comes up. You may be out at a restaurant or something. You may be in the middle of grocery shopping. You may tumble out of bed in the middle of the night and the idea come to you like it's a revelation, and you write it down on paper. You don't know how it'll arrive. But the right answers will come to you if you want them. If you honestly want them, the answers will come to you. That's all for today. Have a good one. See you in the funny papers.